Well, here's Christoph. He's all ready to go. Jean and I are going on a cruise today. We leave out of Baltimore on Royal Caribbean and heading south to Cape Canaveral and then over to Cococay. They don't allow dogs on there. Christoph is a little bit upset because there are no dogs allowed, but he gets to go to doggy daycare. Yes, he gets to go to his groomer's house where he's all excited when he goes to his groomer. So he's going over and stay with her. You got all your bags packed, Christoph? Yeah, you all ready to go? You got everything? Okay. I think he's ready to go. Christoph, come. Well, here's Christoph. He is at his doggy daycare. He's at his doggy daycare. Can't wait to get inside. He says something exciting is here. Are you excited? Oh, here he is. Say, oh, hi there. Say hi. Say hi. Say hi, huh? I say, I don't know where I am, but I'm excited to be here anyway. Well, we're ready to go on board our ship, the Grandeur of the Sea by Royal Caribbean. Well, I thought we'd get a picture of the shot of our stateroom. There's Jean coming out of the head, as it's called on a ship. So I thought I'd get a shot of our stateroom. I'm standing at the balcony door right now. Wave like you just came on the ship, Jean.
Oh, wave like I just came out of the bathroom.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, we're going to go up and get something to eat. Well, we're finally underway and getting ready to go under the Key Bridge. It was named the Key Bridge for Francis Scott Key. This is about where the ship was that he was on during the bombarding by the British on Fort McHenry when he wrote the Star-Spangled Banner. Well, today is day number 2, March 23rd, Saturday. We're now out in the Atlantic after going down to Chesapeake Bay in the Gulf Stream, heading for our first port to stop, which will be Port Canaveral. Well, here's a good shot of the track that goes about halfway around the boat. 4 laps is a kilometer, so we figured 5 should be about a mile. Did a good bit of walking. We walked up and down the steps rather than taking the elevator. And then we'd come up here and walk around this track several times, a couple miles, probably did about 10 miles on the whole cruise. But it helped to work off all that good food that we had to eat. And here's a good shot of the pool. Didn't really go in. I did stick my foot in it a couple times. It wasn't quite warm enough, but I did go in the hot tub several times that were really nice. And now we're approaching Canaveral, Cape Canaveral. I guess he's one of our escorts in. Well, here we are coming into Cape Canaveral. We are on March the 24th, I believe it is. There's a tower off in the distance that may be Cape Canaveral itself, the launch site. Beautiful area. Temperature is probably 70, it feels like. Not bad at all. Feels nice. We have a tour today of Cape Canaveral itself. 3-hour bus trip. Total is 3.5 hours bus trip over, of course not far, and a tour of everything. So coming in nice and slow. It's the way you back up an RV, nice and slow. Headed toward Cape Canaveral. Actually, it's Kennedy Space. What is it? Space Station or whatever it is. Kennedy something. And there's the Kennedy emblem, Kennedy Space Center. Well, here we are at the Kennedy Space Center Park, I guess you would call it. It's where there are a bunch of buildings and museums and everything else. Pretty neat. There's the Astronaut Hall of Fame, and they call this the satellite or rocket graveyard. Yeah, rocket graveyard.
This mural, maybe get one of the kids' answer. What is this mural of?
International Space Station is the largest thing orbiting the Earth. It was completed in 2011, started construction in 1998. Those flags are the 15 nations that helped develop the International Space Station, which includes 5 space agencies. NASA, of course, and American Space Shuttle Program helped build it. Actually, I shouldn't help say did build it. And then you've got the ESA, which is European Space Agency, Russian Space Agency, Japanese Space Agency, and Canadian Space Agency. So those 5 space agencies, which encompass these 15 flags, built and maintain the International Space Station. You have crew of 6 total. They change out every 6 months. Crew of 3, and that was in the Soyuz capsule that I talked about on the bus that they were using. Everybody in the world has to use to get to the International Space Station until we get SpaceX and Boeing stuff up and running this summer, hopefully. Just keep watch on that.
Saturn V. See, it says 5 rockets. That's why they call it the Saturn V. Each one of those cones would move and swivel, be under control by computers to keep the rocket in a vertical position. You don't really realize how big this rocket is until you're standing underneath of it. It's probably, if I had to guess, maybe 200 feet long, which would make it as high as a 20-story building if it's standing upright. So this thing is huge. It's just really neat to stand underneath it here and see it. I remember when these things were shot up, watching it on TV. Here's the gangway the astronauts actually walked across in order to gain access or get into the rocket, and the vehicle that they rode out in. It's the Orion space capsule. It's Starline. And here's some remaining pieces of the Challenger space shuttle. And that is Cocoa Beach and all by night. Well, Canaveral, I'm sorry, Cape Canaveral. Well, I guess the town is just called Canaveral. Maybe it's Cape Canaveral, who knows?
I think it's Port Canaveral.
Port Canaveral, that's it. Jean just said it's called Port Canaveral. We should be getting underway here pretty soon. And see if I can film it on the way out. And there's downtown Port Canaveral on a Sunday night. You smell a multitude of restaurants. And now we're at Cococay, which is an island that's owned by the Royal Caribbean. So we're going to check that out today. Notice how pretty the water is. It's you can see it real good, but it's that bluish color. It's just kind of unique to anywhere else. Cococay, if I had to estimate, we're east of Port Canaveral, maybe a little bit southeast, but probably pretty much east. I'm going to estimate about 300 to 350 miles. We left Port Canaveral yesterday at about 9 o'clock by the time we got out of the channel. We got in this morning here. Took them a little while to get in, so I'm going to say 8 o'clock, so that's 11 hours. And looks like a little bit of rain. I feel a little bit of raindrops now on me, but yesterday was cloudy and cleared up real nice, so hopefully today it clears up real nice. Well, here we are on Cococay now, and there's a picture of our cruise ship, the what is it called? What ship are we on? Grandeur of the Sea. There you go, the Grandeur of the Sea. And that is the new pier that has just opened up. In fact, that was the first time the grandeur of the sea came in. There seems to be a lot of currents here because I could tell from all my nautical experience that he had a little bit of a hard time fighting the currents to get in, because as you can see with the whitecaps and all here, there is a little bit of currents coming in. But he did a good job. We are now ashore and go see the straw markets. It's where some locals from the closest island, they don't live here. The island is not really that big. I just asked someone, they come from 5 miles away. It's called the Berry Key or Berry Island, which is part of the Great Barrier Islands. So they come by boat 5 miles away. Hard way to come by boat. Probably not too much of a traffic jam when you're coming by boat. So this is the straw market. It's independent. They take, what do they take? They said they take American money, and I guess they probably take credit cards. Not sure about the credit cards, but I know they do take American money.
And you can watch dolphins, you can see sharks feeding on the stingray. You can watch a whole live National Geographic episode.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Sounds
one thing
lovely.
eating another.
Yeah. So many years have you seen?
How many years?
Uh-huh.
On this earth?
Uh-huh.
I've seen, next year I'll be 60.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, you're still a young man then.
Well, why do you say that?
No, I'm older than that, so yes, so you're a young man. Yes.
I was saying to my husband that the idea of you riding to work every day in a boat, that would be his dream come true, to be able to do that.
Yep,
There you go.
By boat. It's a nice ride.
Yeah.
As you sit there, you reflect, you get your thoughts together, you know, for the coming day.
For coming day, yeah. Not too much traffic, right?
Not too much.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. Sounds wonderful. Just that.
When we want traffic, we go to the big island.
There you-
Oh, yeah.
There you go.
We come to Baltimore anytime. You stay with us and you can watch the traffic. People are like shouting at each other.
Road rage,
Now, he's recording you. Do you mind? Is that
Not
okay?
at all, lady.
Yeah, yeah.
No, I
Make you
get
famous
recorded.
somewhere.
I'm on YouTube, man.
There you go. There you go.
All over the place since this stuff started. My daughter was doing a ball. She recorded me and herself. She probably took me off. That works out.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, there you go. Well, go to Kristoff's Journey and you'll see yourself on there. Kristoff, like as in the frozen Kristoff, the sleigh driver.
Yeah.
Yeah, you see yourself on there.
It's
For real?
supposed to be about the dog. Every once in a while, the dog is in it. It's
Okay.
mostly interesting people.
Yeah.
All right, got you.
Well, have a good day. Thank you. Bye. Now, this is originally called Stirrup Key or Stirrup Island. And then we have Great Stirrup Island. Of course, it's called Cococay. The Royal Caribbean Cruise Line changed it to be called Cococay. I guess if you buy the island, you can call it anything you want to. But then there's also Great Great Stirrup Island, which is owned by our Norwegian cruise ship. Another beach, a little bit farther down, about a 5-minute walk from the last beach. And there you have jet ski rentals. There's one firing up now. For you brave at heart, Jean wouldn't go for a ride on me. I said I could rent one, but she said no. And this is a little bit farther down from where we walked. We got off at the ship, walked down the pier, went to the left, which you hit the straw market right away. And then a couple beaches, 2 beaches, and then we're here where it is. So the ship is that away. You know, Kristoff, we've had a couple text messages from her when we were able to get our texts. One of the first things when we left them off there, they have a doggy door, and he wasn't really familiar with the doggy door. At home, if a door is closed and even open up a couple inches, he won't push it to open it up. So I wasn't sure if he would really catch on to the doggy door or not. So anyway, she did text me and said that yeah, he did catch on to the doggy door. Another little Kristoff tidbit is they said they gave him a treat and he was running around the house with the treat. They couldn't kind of figure out why he was running around the house with the treat. Well, he likes to bury his treats. He's not real fond of eating treats, all of them. He's very particular, but he doesn't want to give it up. So I texted back and said that he's probably trying to bury it in a cushion or hide it somewhere, since they have 2 other dogs that he's in a little bit of competition with. It looks like a water slide out there. I guess that's actually a water park that is out in the water. Here we are at the Oasis pool again. This must be the kiddie area if I had to guess what it would be. So this is probably the kiddie end of the pool. Well, the temperature's gotten up there a little bit. It's probably up in the 80s now. So I guess that water really feels good. This Oasis pool just goes on and on and on. I don't know how long it would be from one end to the other, but I've seen close to 2 football fields length so far. And we're gonna go down there, see how far it goes down. There's Jean out there playing in the water. The lady with the hat on and the flowered bathing suit. Well, here's what you do on vacation. Just sit back in a lounge, chill out while sitting on the beach, watching your wife's stuff as she goes out and takes a swim. Doesn't get any better than this. So that was your tour of Cococay. Hope you enjoyed it. It was a beautiful day here today. Had a little bit of rain, then the sun came out, made it really nice most of the time. Had a little bit of sprinkles and the sun came out again. So a really neat place this Royal Caribbean has. They're going to be doing a lot more improvements to it. That pier was just open, and this was the first time that the Grandeur of the Sea was able to come in and dock.